Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Lulabelle H knitting podcast. My name's Paula and I live south of Edinburgh with my husband and my cat who is currently circling around. Actually, I'm just going to grab her so that I can get her to wish you happy Christmas. Hold on. Come on, wish happy Christmas, maybe. Because she's so cute and very wriggly, and she's not at all happy about being picked up because she was just heading back to bed. But anyway, Meg would like to say happy Christmas and she hopes you have a very nice time. Okay, I'm going to put her back. Okay, I just had to take the opportunity to grab her there because when she's in her bed she can be there for hours. So yeah, so episode 10, it's Christmas Eve and I wanted to record today just so that I'm knitting quite a lot again, and yeah, I just like to kind of keep it turning over so that I don't end up with a huge stash of things to show. So I'll just get started. Yeah, it's Christmas Eve and it's a kind of fairly relaxed day today. We don't have any plans for today. I've made meringues for one of the desserts tomorrow, so all I've got to do today is dip the bottoms in chocolate and leave them to set, and then I'll take them down with cream. And I couldn't get raspberries this year, so I had to get strawberries, which it's not quite the same. Yeah, anyway, it'll be fine. And yeah, we've got other desserts to take as well. But so that's all that's on the agenda for today, along with a little bit of tidying up. So the first finished object is my everyday socks, which I showed as a whip in the last episode. Both finished. I'm actually really happy with I managed to kind of, so you know when you've got self-patterning yarn, so this is the Everyday Socks pattern by Petite Knit, and the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply signature in the Kingfisher colourway. And so I always have a dilemma when I have kind of self-patterning yarn, especially when it's very kind of clear. It's not like it's just a kind of, so for example, I'll take my slipper off. So this sock that I've got on at the minute, this is that's not very good. I've been wearing these for days as well, so I hope there's no kind of fluff on the bottom. But you know, when you get yarn like that just kind of, it's a kind of vague pattern. It's not like this, which is very kind of clearly striped. So what I'm trying to say is I managed to start both socks and end both socks so that they match. So it starts on the blue and it finishes on the orange at the toe. It's maybe like, you know, I don't know, a few kind of centimetres out, but it's very, very close. And so yeah, I can never kind of decide whether that bothers me or not, or whether I want them to match or not. But anyway, I matched them in this pair and I'm really happy with them. I think I said in my last podcast, so we have a little kingfisher that we visit at lunchtime on the days when I'm not in work. We go for a walk along the river, and so I think this colourway really matches the kingfisher really well, except the orange, I would have had more of a kind of rust colour there. So again, I've said before, you get a 100-gram ball of sock wool. So I have over 50 grams left. So this took less than 50 grams to make a pair of socks. So, and I have some rust coloured 4-ply yarn in my stash. So I think what I'll do is I'll make them again, or make another pair. And this time I'll do well, I wasn't sure, I thought I might thread it through, or just have the cuffs, the heels and the toes in rust, contrasting rust, and then the rest just the kingfisher yarn. But yeah, I really like them. I haven't worn them yet because I want to show them before I wore them. I really love, especially at the minute, West Yorkshire Spinners has just an amazing range of colourways. So I really like all the bird colourways because I live in the countryside and we have birds in our garden, and when we go for a walk, so when we go for a walk we kind of have like a checklist of the birds that we're trying to spot, and it's really lovely if we spot all of our list. It doesn't happen very often. So there's a heron who lives on the river, and he's just amazing. We've seen him flying, but he kind of sits and watches and fishes. Ducks, there's a little duck gang at the minute that we think is kind of pairing off with each other. The kingfisher and dippers, there's kind of dippers all over the place, which are really impressive actually. Back now, we haven't seen them for months. We saw 3 gooseanders the other day, which again are really gorgeous birds. I feel like I've missed something, but I can't think. Anyway, so that's that. They're the birds along the river, and then obviously in the garden we have kind of the usual like blue tits and great tits, and this morning we had longtails on the feeder, which are just really cute. Blackbirds. Last year we had a pheasant who came, a female pheasant who came every day. I think she was maybe thinking about settling in the garden, but we do go out there and we do have a cat. So anyway, but just before she kind of went off, she brought her mate with her for a few days, and yeah, they were lovely, very lovely. Anyway, I haven't seen her for months now, so I hope she's gone off and had her babies and she's very happy somewhere. Anyway, so that's all the birds. So to get back to talking about the wool, yeah, so West Yorkshire Spinners, they do like just a great range of colours in their country birds range. So I'd like to get a few of them, and they also do like their Christmas range is also really amazing as well. So they've got one called Silent Night, which is a really kind of amazing kind of blue colours, that's sparkly, so that looks really good. I was really tempted by that. I went to John Lewis the other day and was looking at them. And they've got another one that I really like the look of called, I think it's called Vintage Tinsel, which kind of does look vintagey tinsel-y. And then they've got other kind of Christmas sparkles, and Yuletide and gingerbread looks really good as well. Yeah, so I could easily buy all of those, and I might buy a couple. I will buy a couple. But I was thinking, I really wish West Yorkshire Spinners did the sock yarn in 50-gram balls. Enough for, because I don't really want to knit 2 pairs of the same colourway for socks. So yeah, I wish they did them in 50-gram balls. That would be better. Anyway. So that's finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is it's the terrazzo neck. I'm just looking around me, so it's another fairly heavy petite knit episode. Yeah. What can you do? She's an amazing designer, and I love her. I love the finish on her designs. They just look really professional. They look really kind of toast-like, and she's got a new design out at the minute called the Key Sweater. I think it's called the Key Sweater. She's kind of seems to be branching out into a bit of colour work. So it's not like Farewell or anything like that, but it's kind of maybe 2 colours together in a design. But again, they're just really, so I think I probably will buy the Key Sweater and make that. Anyway, I've got, excuse me, I've got other things to knit before then. So this is the terrazzo neck. It's hard to show the kind of the neck part of it. So the neck, I've been wearing it every day since I finished it. So this is it's got a really long neck. So this is a kind of Scandinavian thing that you don't really get in the UK, or I'm not even sure I've seen it in any other kind of country. And it's basically just, it's almost like a kind of polo neck sweater, but it's not a sweater. It's just to cover your neck and your chest and your back. And I've wanted one for years. And I kind of looked at a few patterns. I actually like the look of Laura Penrose has just published a pattern, a kind of neck pattern. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a kind of sideways knitted. It's smaller than this. This is like heavy duty neck. But I like the look of that, but I kind of decided this was quite a kind of classic, and I really like the amount of coverage I was getting on it as well. So it's knitted in drops. So I use 5 balls of drops Charisma, held together with held together with drops Kid Silk in curry. So it's drops Charisma in dark mustard and Kid Silk in curry. Yeah, so I used 2 balls of the Kid Silk and 5 balls of the Charisma. So when I started this, I really thought that it would be a really quick knit. And actually, I mean, now that I look at it, it's almost the size of a like a vest. What are they called? I've lost the word. Anyway, it's kind of much more of an undertaking than I had expected it to be. And actually, I managed to do so you start at the back, you cast off and shape the neck, and then you cast on and shape the front of the neck, and then you knit the front, and then you go back and pick up stitches round the neck for the kind of the polo neck part of it. And all that was quite simple. The rib is twisted rib, and again, once I kind of cast on and realised the extent of the undertaking of that, I thought that might kind of not be very pleasant to knit. But I did get into so all of the rib is twisted rib, but I did get into a rhythm with it. I was quite surprised by how quickly, especially holding 2 strands of yarn together. I thought that could make it difficult, but it was fine. The only thing was if I needed to unknit it, it took me a while to figure out how to unknit a twisted rib, how to untwist it. The cast on was a kind of new to me technique. So the cast on, you start at the back, and the cast on was an Italian cast on, which I've never done before, but I've wanted to for ages. It's to give it a kind of stretch, or maybe for this it's just to give it the finish, because you obviously don't need the stretch. You need the stretch on the neck, but anyway, so the cast on. So the only part of the pattern that I would probably change if I knitted it again, and I'm not sure I will knit it again, is the cast on. It says to cast on circular needles, and so most kind of Scandinavian knitting patterns that I knit use circular needles, whether you're knitting in the round or not. And so that's what I did. It's kind of easier to knit on circular because you don't have the weight of like straight needles and the yarn hanging off that. If you can hear a kind of clicking noise, I've got a little electric fire on at the minute. So anyway, I Italian cast on circular needles. But the problem was, by the time I cast on all the stitches and then went to knit the first row, the stitches that I'd cast on first had been pushed along to the wire part of the circular needle. And because I'd never cast on using Italian cast on before, they turned. So when I'm knitting normally, like a kind of normal cast on, like a long tail cast on or anything like that, I know how it's meant to look, so that when I'm knitting it, if they've twisted, I can untwist them so that they sit how they're meant to sit. But with this, I really had trouble, and it's only the last few stitches, and so it's at the back, and and nobody's even going to be looking, but I can see, so I can see just, you won't be able to see because it's just that bit there, this little bit here. You can just see a kind of ridge where there shouldn't be a ridge. So anyway, it's just probably about 5 or so stitches, and like I say, it's at the back, so nobody will ever see it or be able to tell. So yeah, she also did, I think it's called double knitting. It's another technique I've never done before. I'm not going to give away the pattern, but she does a kind of double knitting at the cast on edge and the cast off edge, and again it just gives this kind of really nice finish. Yeah, and again I did it because I wanted to follow the pattern faithfully. I'm not sure if it's necessary, but you know, if you're going to take my word and Petite Knit's word, I'd go with her word, because she's a design guru, so I'm sure she tried it without and decided it was better with. So yeah, like I said, I've been wearing it a lot, because it does that thing, even if you're wearing like a scarf, even a big scarf or a cowl or anything else, somehow the wind always finds its way in, whereas with this, there's no way the wind can get in. So it's just amazing. The only thing I don't like about it is when I was casting off, I did the Italian bind off, which makes it stretchy, except she also got, in the pattern you also do that kind of double knitting to give it that finish just at the edge, which kind of made it kind of constrict a bit more than it would have if I hadn't done that. And then when I was binding off, I realised that my Italian bind off is quite tight, so I can get it on and off, but if I was making it again, I would bind off much more loosely, because yeah, I can get it on and off and it's fine. But it could do with just being a little bit looser. So yeah, so that's my neck. For some reason, knitting this part just took forever. By the time I'd finished the kind of the front and back, I thought I was on the home straight. Maybe that's the thing. It's like expectation against reality. So knitting the front and back kind of took the time I expected it to take, but then knitting the twisted rib neck band, yeah, it really felt interminable. It just felt like it was going to never end. Anyway, yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love the colour. This is again, I've said before, this is my kind of go-to colour, so I love that kind of mustardy, deep mustard colour. So that's my second finished object. I'm just going to check the recording time. 18, yeah, that's okay. So my Meg's gone back to bed. My next, my third finished object. What am I going to do? I'll do this, okay. My third finished object is another anchor sweater. So this is my third anchor sweater. And it is knitted in Drops Charisma again. I can't remember the colour, it's some brown colour. I do have like a little label to put in to show the front and back, but I haven't done that yet. So it's finished, so this is it. I really like it, I do really like it. Do you know, I've been wearing my sea green anchor sweater a lot. It's my kind of default jeans and jumper to wear, and it's so warm, it feels amazing. It's not pilling, it's hardly pilling at all, which is great. I love the colour, love everything about it. So this is the Anchor sweater in brown. It's just, I just love it. I really love this design. I haven't blocked it yet, but I will because I need to. Like I say, I've got a little label to put in the back. I think I used 9 balls. I knitted size 2 this time, and yeah, I love Drops Charisma. It's such a great yarn. It's really, it just feels really woolly. Yeah, I just love it. It's so nice. It's not as warm a brown as I think it's Heath Solid. I've got another brown, a brown that I knitted my evened in cardigan and an evened in scarf in. It's not as warm a brown as that, but I still love it. I really love this colour. But yeah, that's my brown Anchor sweater. And yeah, I just got to block it. Like I say, I've just been kind of busy lately with the run up to Christmas and finishing up in work. I was lucky enough to finish, I finished about a week ago. No, I finished on Wednesday and it's Tuesday today, so yeah, a week ago, because I work Monday to Wednesday. And yeah, so that's that. So my next finished object, I'm hoping I'm get all the finished objects done in, I've just got to keep an eye on the recording time because it only records for half an hour. And 21, right, okay. So my next finished objects are, my next 2 finished objects are kind of tiny objects. I don't know if I said at the beginning I've got 5 finished objects and only 1 whip, 1.5 whips. So it's these little Christmas caramels that Petite Knit did. So it's a free pattern from Petite Knit and you hang it on the tree. I've made a few of them actually. I'll show you. I've made quite a few of them, and what I've done is I've kind of given, so that's gonna focus. Yeah. So they take an hour to knit. It's a free pattern by Petite Knit, and I've made quite a few of them, more than that even, and I've given, so what I've done when I've been doing presents for people is, yeah, there we go. I've kind of just put a couple in with people's presents. You kind of hang on the second bit, you put a little bit of string to hang off the Christmas tree. So they're meant to be, I did have one on the Christmas tree, but I ended up giving that one away. So yeah, so I'm just knitting a couple more. So I've got, this is what it looks like before it's stuffed and finished off. And then I've got another one on the needles at the minute. So I'm going to put these in with my friends' Christmas presents. But they're just such a fun project. Petite Knit kind of recommends, so you do like a little crocheted bit at the bottom. So she recommends using kind of sparkly yarn, but I didn't want to go and buy sparkly yarn because I wouldn't use it for anything else really. So I just had quite a lot of Kid Silk Haze, Kid Silk yarn left over. So I just used that, and I've got different colours, but actually, so I don't have any gold curry at the minute, but my kind of preferred finishing Kid Silk is the curry colour because it's like a kind of gold and it looks really good on all of them. I thought different colours might look good with different finishing colours, but actually the ones that I did with gold trim I like the best. So yeah, this one bugs me because I noticed when I'd got halfway along here, I noticed I'd done a stripe of 3 green instead of 2. So then I had to match it by doing another stripe of 3 green at the end. Again, nobody else would notice, but it just really bugs me. So I might just give this one away so that I never have to look at it again. The balance of having two, a stripe of two, it just works better. Anyway, it's a little thing that just kind of bugs me. So I think I've got my glasses on still. So I think I'll be back in a sec. So my next finished object is it's this. So it's a little tea cozy, which I just really love. I hope that's focusing. I just made it because so my sister gave me this little teapot maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, and it came with this tea cozy. And so it's a perfectly functional tea cozy, and I did just done the job for a couple of years, but just lately, so grey's not really my colour at all. I love colour so much that I like kind of like charcoal grey, like a kind of really darkish grey before it heads properly into black. And I like some greys that have got some blues in them, but not kind of school grey. Like this is like school uniform grey. Just not my colour. So I've kind of looked at it for a couple of years, and just, the teapot is great because it holds about 2 cups of tea, or 1.5, 1 3/4 cups of tea. So when I'm having lunch or having a snack, I can kind of get enough tea to keep me going for the duration of the snack or of lunch. So anyway, just on a whim, 2 or 3 days ago, I decided to knit a jolly tea cozy, and I wasn't sure what wool to use. I wanted a really jolly colour. I knew I wanted like a yellowy mustard pom-pom on the top, and I actually thought about I work near Edinburgh Fabrics in Edinburgh, and they have, so I go there some lunchtimes is when I want to kind of look at something cheerful, and I knew that they had some pom-poms, kind of like this type of pom-pom that's on here, a kind of tufty pom-pom in different colours. I knew they had pom-poms in yellow, and if I hadn't finished work and I was going to be back in town, I probably wouldn't have made it myself. I probably would have just got a pom-pom from Edinburgh Fabrics, but I'm glad I didn't, because so the burgundy is, this is the burgundy, so it's wool in the gang. It's this wool in the gang yarn. I got this last year. My colleague and friend Sarah had got me a voucher for Dovecot in Edinburgh for my birthday the year before, and I had to spend it by April this year. So I went and I bought this because I was intending to make, I thought I could make some leg warmers if I kind of, I thought I'd do it with like navy chunky wool as well. Anyway, I haven't got around to making the leg warmers yet, but when it came to making the tea cozy, I thought this was like a perfect colour. And I thought about doing a kind of, so the original tea cozy has a cable design going up it, and I thought about doing a cable design as well, but then I thought I would just keep it simple. I've always really liked, so that the wool is kind of so fluffy. I think it's got alpaca in it or something. I think it's got some kind of fluffy, what is it? Yeah, so it's pretty much alpaca. It's 70% alpaca, 7% merino and 23% nylon. So that's why it's really fluffy, and the definition isn't great, but you can still see the moss stitch. So I decided to keep it simple. I really like moss stitch anyway, and So the original, I just used the original as a kind of template. So I looked at the stitch count, the gauge on the ball band and the needle size, and I just did the math and worked out how many stitches I needed to cast on, and I wanted to work it in the rounds. I didn't want to have to sew it together at the end. So the original is just kind of knitted in 2 halves and then sewn together at the end. So anyway, so I just knitted it in the round, and then for the little gaps, the gaps are the same size, so you can, it doesn't matter if it's for the handle or the spout. So I just did a 3-stitch I-cord edging for the gap. So I cast on in the round, knitted 1 by 1 rib or 2 by 2 rib, I can't remember now. I just made it up as I went along. No, it's 2 by 2 rib, yeah, because I wanted that kind of chunkier feel. So 2 by 2 rib, and then I started doing moss stitch, which is like 1 by 1 knit purl, and then you change it, purl knit on the next row, keep alternating it, and you get this really nice kind of moss stitch. So yeah, so I did the rib, and then I just kind of obviously knitted back and forth for the front and the back, and I knitted that kind of straight, so I didn't cast off any for that bit, and like I say, I just did an I-cord edging, and then when it got to the top, I just cast off 4 stitches. I joined it in the round again, just cast off 4 stitches. I had a little kind of ridge to make it neat and tidy, and then when I had 8 stitches left, it was kind of like the right size. Then I just knitted 2 together until I had 4 stitches, and then I kitchenered the remaining, was it 4 stitches or was it 4 stitches on each side? Yeah, it was 4 stitches each side. So 16 stitches, and I knitted 2 together to get 8, and then I kitchenered the final 8. Yeah, 4 each side, that's right, yeah. And it's worked out perfectly. It couldn't have worked out better, actually. It's such a jolly colour, I really love it. It's easy to get on and off, and so now I have a really jolly, I use it every day, this little teapot. So now I have a really jolly teapot. It's just the right size for me. Nobody else has tea at the same time as I'm having tea, so that's great. So that's my finished objects. That's 5 altogether. The caramels I'll probably just keep knitting. I need to knit a few for my tree, actually, because all the ones I've knitted I've given away. So yeah, I just need to knit a few for my tree. I'll probably just knit, because I realised that all of my decorations are kind of red and white. I wish I'd got more of these little stained glass snowmen. I got these when we lived in Norfolk. There was like a little Christmas market in the village square. So I got that one and this one. I really like polar bears, so I got polar bears and hearts. Some stuff's from IKEA, like the hearts are from IKEA, the robins are from IKEA. But I kind of realised some stuff's from Habitat before it, when it used to have a store in Norwich. I've got these Arnie and Carlos. I knitted some of the Christmas balls from Arnie and Carlos's book. So there's a few of them, and yeah, but anyway, everything's pretty much, there's a few Gisela Graham decorations and bells and stuff, but everything's pretty much red and white, which is just coincidental. Obviously I'm attracted to red and white Christmas decorations when I'm buying them. We've got a few chocolate balls on the tree, though not as many as we had. They proved very popular. Yeah, so yeah, I think when I'm knitting my own Christmas caramels, I will knit red and white, and maybe green. green and white. Yeah. So that's that, and then I just have, so I've got one finished, no, I've got one whip, which is another anchor sweater. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I actually thought it was really sweet of Petite Knit to put out a free kind of Christmas decoration pattern. She can obviously afford it because she must make so much money. Her designs are so popular, and but anyway, it's still really nice of her to make available a free pattern for people. Yeah, and it's really simple. So my only whip that I have is this anchor sweater. So you can see I'm just kind of, I've knitted the rib, done most of the body. I think I've got about another 10 centimetres to do on the body. It's knitted in Drops Daisy, and it's the only thing I've knitted in Drops Daisy, and it's so soft, it's really fluffy. In December I really like to knit in kind of Christmas colours or something Christmassy, and when I was knitting on this, because I really wanted to carry on knitting this in December, there's one year I knitted a really deep kind of red, it was the red, this is the leftover red from a cardigan I knitted, and it was just such a deep kind of fluffy red. I really liked it, so that felt very Christmassy to knit with that. But I decided that because Drops Daisy is really, there's a real kind of softness and fluffiness to the yarn, so I decided that this is Christmassy enough, and it's kind of like knitting kind of fluffy snowballs. That was my selling point to myself. So, but anyway, I have really enjoyed knitting it. So far I've managed to avoid, let me touch wood, spilling anything on it or anything like that. There's a couple of podcasters who say Drops Daisy pills. I don't have any experience. It's a really popular yarn. That's the postman. It's a really popular yarn, so I'll see. It's more expensive than Drops Charisma. I'd like to knit more in Drops Daisy, but the colour range, I'm not sure there's really anything else. Maybe, I don't know, I'll see. The colour range didn't kind of thrill me that much, but I'll have another look anyway. So that's that. So that's my only whip. And I'll probably finish it before I go back to work. I would think it's not, once you get the body finished, the sleeves don't take me that long. There's not much shaping in the sleeves, and I'm quite quick at going round and round. So that's that. So I've got two more. I like the anchor sweater so much. I think I mentioned in the last podcast that I'd bought more Drops Charisma to knit two more jumpers. So these are the colours. So it's I got this kind of, the lighter one is lavender, and the darker one, I think it's petrol cerise. They're just really lovely colours. I particularly suit this kind of, it's a kind of bluey kind of with a bit of purple in it. I've got an M&S lamb's wool jumper that's this kind of colour, and my colouring really suits it. So I'm looking forward to, but I really love this. This is kind of like the sea green, so it kind of reminds me of the, I really like this as well. So I don't know which I'll probably knit this next after I finish the marzipan. Oh sorry, I meant to say the Drops Daisy is in the colouring marzipan. So once I finish the marzipan sweater, I'll probably do this next and then this. But again, I don't think it'll take me long because it's such an easy knit. Yeah, and there's no finishing, so which is what I like. So that's all of my finished items and whips. What else? I'm reading, I had a couple, let me just check. Oh yeah, I made a note of a couple of things to talk about. So I decided one night, maybe about a week and a half ago, to to sort my wool stash, because I had wool in 2 different locations, and when I was trying to find wool I had to kind of dig through everything to find the thing I wanted. So I decided to sort my stash out. I decided to do it in the evening, and it took much longer than I anticipated, but anyway I got it done. But this was my yarn stash when I pulled everything out. Is that going to focus? Yeah. So that's my yarn stash. So I've got there's one whole line of Aran weight wool, one whole line of DK wool, and one whole line of 4-ply. So this is a combination of yarn that I have like for a whole project and leftovers, in all kind of weights of yarn, and yeah, so yarn where I've got enough wool to knit like a whole jumper or something, and then leftover yarn in every weight, and yeah, so anyway I just sort it out. So the main bulk of everything I decided to put it back in the 2 locations that I keep it. So I keep most of it under, I have big kind of IKEA tubs under my desk. Meg's snoring now. I've got big IKEA tubs under my desk, so most of it is in there. So I sorted it into leftover Aran, leftover DK, and leftover 4-ply, and then I've got another big tub that's also beside my desk. It's like a bigger tub, and in that tub I put all of the yarn where I've got enough balls to make a complete. So it's not leftover, it's yarn that I bought especially to make a jumper, or I think it's mostly jumpers, or slip-over. That's the word I couldn't find earlier. A slip-over. So I've got some of that. And I also, in my 4-ply, I also kind of have a tub now of 4-ply sock yarn. So that's really handy to have, because yeah, when I'm looking for like a contrast colour for sock yarn, or I've actually bought, there's some Drops Fable that I bought to make socks just because I like the colour. So that's in there as well. So, and then in my other kind of location, which is on a kind of tiered shelf unit in the kitchen, also in tubs, I've got 2 tubs, and that's for I decided that's going to be for my works in progress. And that's working out really well because I can just grab everything and finish it. So I'm hoping to get finished. I really need a new pair of slippers, and I'm putting off buying slippers from like a shop or online because I really want to finish the double toffler slippers. So I'm hoping to get them finished while I'm off. I'm not back at work until the 6th of January, which is amazing. So I'm hoping to get the double toffler slippers finished, and the evened-in cardigan. It's that picking up and knitting. It's not even going to take that long, but it's just that it's not even that hard. I don't know, it's like over a year, and I just need to, literally all I need to do on my mustard evened-in cardigan is knit the neck rib and the button band. It's almost nothing. But then I've just kind of like start knitting an anchor sweater, and I just got round and round and round, and it's easy. Anyway, so that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to finish those 2. Yeah. So I've got 2 podcast recommendations I'd like to recommend. So one is, and they're both really popular, so I'm sure you might have heard of them already, but I always find it's interesting to get podcast recommendations, and you know, and some of them, so the 2 podcasters I'm about to recommend, the reason I like both of them is because, so I like them because they kind of go off the beaten track, so which is kind of a bit ironic because I've just had almost 2 full episodes of talking almost exclusively about petite knit patterns and designs, which is very mainstream. But I do like, you know, like I do vintage knits, and I do like a tea cozy or a coaster, or I knit a bookmark, that kind of thing. So I do venture into kind of off the beaten track knits as well. So the first one is handmade by Florence. I think she just graduated and lives and works now in Oxford. And what I like about her, so she does some of her own designs, but what I like about her is so I think she's knitting, I like people who do really niche things. It's like if you're going to do something, really get into something. So she's knitting, she found the design for, it was the Winter Olympic Norwegian Lillehammer jumper design that was specially designed for the Norwegian Olympics when it was held in Norway. And it's a really kind of complicated design. I think it's knitted in the Norwegian colours, so it's like dark blue, white and red. And yes, I just love stuff like that. So she does stuff like that. She does mainstream stuff as well. But she's always got something interesting to say, and she's got like a different take on the thing she's knitting. So yeah, I really like her. And the second podcaster I wanted to recommend was Emily Kate Made This. So I think she's English, living in Berlin, and she's really kind of wacky, which I completely love. She's got a vintage knitting machine, so she'll find like a vintage knitting pattern, or even sometimes like an embroidery pattern. She's done like and then she doesn't even just she does some hand knitting, but she then translates it so that she can knit it on her vintage machine, which seems like a lot of hassle and a lot of rejigging and a lot of ripping back and doing it again. But she does get finished items that are like, some of the jumpers she makes are just really spectacular, really beautiful and unique. Like she knitted a Moomin jumper, so it's two Moomins and two Moomins around a Christmas tree, which was just beautiful. And she's done another kind of, she translated or used a vintage embroidery pattern for just like the kind of on the chest here, but used it as a knitting pattern. But anyway, she knitted a bikini once on her vintage machine, and she does socks as well, so she'll find like a really old vintage sock pattern and she'll kind of knit that. So she's got really, she always does something really interesting. Or if she kind of knits something on the machine and it doesn't quite work out, she'll make it into something else. She did something recently and I can't remember what it was. It was a really interesting design, and if I'm remembering correctly, which I might not be, I think she took the kind of the design that she'd done and made it into like a headband or something. Anyway, she takes you through her whole creative process, and it's always really interesting. And the energy that she has for making stuff is just amazing, because I think there are many times at the end of an episode I think it would have been easier to just hand knit that, because the amount of kind of putting on and off the knitting machine and messing about with it, it's a lot of effort. So that's pretty much it for today. I'm reading, 23, yeah, so I'll kind of almost finish up there. I'm reading that on my audiobook. I have every year I really want to try and like read a kind of Christmas story. So this year I'm listening to Agatha Christie's, their kind of collection of short stories, Midwinter Murder. So that's what I'm listening to on Audible, and I started reading this, which is the latest Jackson Brodie. And what I really like about it is it's kind of, it was sold to me as a bit of a kind of Agatha Christie, just that kind of cosy murder mystery, nothing too kind of strenuous or deep or grisly or anything like that, but just a kind of really good tale. So that's what I'm reading. And then there are two books that I kind of bring them out every year. because I just really like them. So this is my favourite baking book. I love it so much because it reminds me, I think I probably mentioned it before, but as well as, so I used to travel a lot in Europe in my 20s. I think there was about three or 4 years, 3 years, where I toured with my husband's band, and so we would often be in Europe in December. And Europe in December is just the most amazing, magical, the food and the finishing touches and the lights and the Christmas markets were just beautiful. I loved it. I really loved them. And the other thing I like about this book is that she also does, so Anya Dunk is the kind of writer. What I also love is she does lino printing, so that's like, so she's got lino prints all the way through the book, and I had a brief foray into lino cutting and printing. Actually, lino cutting is really meditative. I really did like that. Once I'd stopped stabbing myself, because you have to get the pressure right to cut the lino. So once I'd stopped kind of skiting off the lino with a really sharp tool and stabbing my hand, I loved lino printing. That's another one. She's got loads of them that are really, really beautiful, really beautiful. So I actually haven't baked anything from this book yet. It's a real, when you just want to kind of dream, it's a really good book to look through and dream. And then I really like this book in December as well. It's Nigel Slater is actually an amazing kind of nature writer. He's got a really, and I often I don't really think about making an advent calendar. I haven't yet though, so this kind of acts as my kind of advent, because it takes you through day by day, and so it has recipes and kind of nature writing and history, he's in different locations as well, so I really like reading this. I pull this out every year, and I don't always hit every day, so there are some days kind of past and I miss, but I might get it the next year, so you know, I kind of read different parts of the book every year, so that's really good. And I think that's pretty much it. Just checking my time, yeah. So just finally to say, Christmas can be a really hard time for some people, for a lot of people actually. You know, what's sold to us is a really kind of merry twinkling, kind of happy time where families all come together and get on, and everybody's happy to see each other and get each other amazing gifts. The reality is often very different to that. So what I try to do, and especially this year, is try to be much more conscious about what I pick from the kind of Christmas selection box. So we love getting a tree, we love having kind of like a Christmas sing-along. We love having a Christmas sing-along, and so this year quite often we get like our friends round, and I play the piano, my husband plays trumpet and guitar, mostly guitar. Our friend brings her flute. We've got like little shaky things for the kids to kind of shake, and jingle bells and stuff like that. And it's just a really kind of fun cacophony. Yeah. So we didn't do that this year. We did think about it, but we decided we were having friends over for New Year this year, so we decided to kind of roll up the Christmas Carol concert sing-along with New Year, and we kind of play charades and eat and drink, and it's just a kind of, we light the fire, it's a really kind of cosy, turn my fire up a bit, it's just a really cosy kind of get together and really good fun. So we do that. Yeah, we kind of like eating Lebkuchen. Lebkuchen. I actually did kind of Google how to pronounce Lebkuchen, and I've been saying it wrong for years. So yeah, but anyway, but you know, like I say, it's not all jolly, and I think the pressure sometimes to kind of overspend. And so for example, this year I decided, so I wrote a list. I think being ill has really, for 3 months, has really kind of influenced or made me kind of reassess how I am at Christmas and what I actually want Christmas in December to be. So instead of having like a kind of mad panic and put lots of pressure on myself to find gifts, you know, there's many years, or probably every year, I kind of go out Christmas shopping and get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm not leaving this shop until I get a gift for whoever. And that's no fun at all. And so anyway, this year, I think because of being unwell, I wrote a list of everybody that I usually buy a gift for. And I just thought, you know, if I don't know the person well enough, so it's habit, if I don't know the person well enough to know what to get them for a Christmas present, should I be even buying them a Christmas present or attempting to buy them a Christmas present? So I kind of culled half my list this year, and I felt immediately relieved, and just kind of taking that obligation off myself was just felt brilliant. So I've had a very relaxed December this year, and I suspect it'll kind of get even more relaxed in future. Yeah, but like I say, there's lots of things about Christmas and December that we do like, and so we do that. Like, we like watching Christmas films, and yeah, the sing along will be fun at New Year. So however you're spending Christmas or the festive season, I hope you have a lovely time. I hope you're not too stressed to enjoy any of it, and I hope, yeah, I think I kind of hope people can take from the Christmas selection box what they actually enjoy, and not feel that obligation or pressure to yeah, to put themselves in a situation where they're not enjoying it, or yeah, or they're just kind of, yeah, they're not having fun. Anyway, so I'll probably record again in about a month's time maybe. So yeah, happy Christmas. Meg's completely asleep now, so she won't be able to come to say goodbye, and see you next year. Okay.
Of a white Christmas.